How about now? There we go. Fuck yeah. All right, audio's up. OBS updated. Fuckered all my shit. Okay. They'll take first pick. Well, that's okay. Implied. All right, boys. 3 minutes to go. Still trying to get everybody together. At the last minute, Ozone ditched us and his whole team with him. He had to go to London. I guess he had a stabbing appointment. Maybe he had to get his stabbing license renewed. Hard to say. In any case, he's in the worst place on Earth. And we're playing Dota. So really, who's the real loser here? We got Team Gumby's Finest and Team Lords of Luke. Both stacks of complete degenerates. Well-versed in many forms of filth. And degeneracy. Gumby's Finest, being a stack of people I played with semi-recently, mostly. The rest are just kind of cobbled together, though, because they only had 3. Arglake's guy I've played with for a long time, or guy I played with a long time ago, one of the two, God if I remember, and Lords of Luke, stack of 5 goons, absolute goons, and quite good, I would say, at gooning. So we should see some goonery. Look out for it. Actually, semi-fairly well-balanced teams, for once. A little rare thing from the organization that we were part of, Ding Ding Dota. Usually, we star, we have these cobbled-together teams of people of, you know, with MMR disparities of 3,000 within and between teams. And then we have horrible, horrible matches. So this time we said, you know what, we're not making teams. And then, you know what, no teams actually came together except for Toasty's team and these wonderful Lords of Luke who had to pick up Juice Box. Everyone else just dissolved into goo the moment the scheduled day came about, which was about expected. And so we've been compensating for it ever since. Looks like our match will be ready to start here in about 1 minute. Gonna check on some last minute stuff here. All right, and we are just about good to go. It's starting time, ladies, gentlemen, and others. I wish there was a less, like, aggressive sounding way to say that. There probably is, but I haven't thought of one. All right, teams are good. Let's fucking go. Dota time. Finally. 2 weeks in the making. And some of these teams just now playing for the first time together. But the Lords of Luke should be relatively familiar with each other, except for Juice Box, who again is their odd man out. Gumby's Finest, Rad Bunana. They know each other. I believe Alvaroth might also be with them, or Salted Codfish. I think it's Salted Codfish looking at the guild tags. And then they've got 2 randoms, Alvaroth and Arglake's KDZ. Predictably, seeing all these meta heroes banned out. Lena, Ricky, Death Prophet, that Death Prophet E, absolutely ridiculous. And everyone knows what's wrong with Ricky, Lena, and Treant Protector. His numbers are just a little, they're a little high. Pretty much all of his numbers, actually. So he's out as well. All meta bans, though. These teams don't know anything about each other, so those are the safest bans to go for. They don't get a match that's total dog water. Alright. And they're taking their time. Rubik first pick comes out from Lords of Luke, and apologies for any other noises or distractions you're having going on here. I am also trying to organize the other lobby, which is even more filled with scum and villainy. We get a Rubik and a Pudge. Wow, the most played heroes of all time, I think, in Dota. And just starting with those two. Pudge, an interesting first pick in this meta. I feel like he's a hero who capitalizes on not being countered, but is counterable. But he's a good comfort pick for a lot of players, and he is a bit of a good flex pick. Rubik, obviously, you play him support, maybe you play him mid if you're feeling real fucking artsy, but he just kind of counters big spells in general, which is a very nice thing to be able to counter with your first phase pick. And even if there aren't any massive, black holes or ravages or
Radiant team pick.
Things like that, he is still a nice hero to have. And then a Visage second pick for Gumby's Finest. They are really getting in there with it. That is, a very strange hero to see picked early, because there are some strong counters to him. So we'll see if Lords of Luke are able to pick out something that'll beat up Visage, maybe an Axe. Maybe something like a Zeus that just ships out that Creative Keeper's Cloak while damaging the birds at the same time. You also see Medusa is actually tempo-wise terrible against Visage, but good at killing birds. And a Warlock for the Lords of Luke. Interesting. That must be a comfort pick. I don't think that's really in response to any of these other picks. He is, his ult and Fatal Bonds are both good at killing birds, so it's decent into the Visage. But he does also just die to Visage. If Visage just looks at him after level 6, Warlock just dissolves into a fiery, magmatic pile of goo. And we see a Marcy band from Lords of Luke. Strong hero, not as strong as she used to be, but they're still getting rid of her. Doesn't seem to be a particularly strong counter to, again, either of their heroes. She's capable of killing them, and there's not much that she feeds that Rubik really wants to steal. Also, I think I gotta turn streamer mode on Discord here, so you guys stop getting the Discord notification. All, I don't know, probably 0 of you. Getting a sniper ban. Good. Fuck that guy. Strong hero into the Visage. Visage really hates sniper, because anywhere sniper can shoot the birds or shoot layers of Visage's cloak off. Shrapnel simultaneously with each tick will break layers of cloak and damage and slow the birds. So just a real pain in the ass for Visage to deal with. So a good ban. Even though Pudge is quite good against the sniper, Visage is definitely not a hero you really want countered. He's not very useful if he's not if he's not very useful, for lack of a better way to put it. He if he's not doing a lot, he's doing nothing. As opposed to a hero like Warlock, who's always doing something, right? He's got that ult. It's going to do something, even if he can't exist without it. If you pop rock and you hit 5 heroes, it's going to be a good fight. The Ursa band, another decent band, more of a meta ban. Very annoying hero to deal with his shard giving him just basically 80% status resistance almost all the time. In addition to his nearly infinite damage, unless you can find a way to dispel these W. Difficult hero to deal with this patch, it feels like. Just real sticky. Real fucking sticky. Doesn't take damage, doesn't care about disables. And doesn't get to play as a result of that being banned out.
Ten seconds remaining.
Primal Beast ban. I almost forgot that guy's in Captain's mode. I haven't seen a lot of pros picking him. That doesn't mean they're not. I just don't watch a lot of pros. But a very strong hero. Being able to stand on top of and stomp down heroes like Warlock. I think Warlock would have a hard time laning into a Primal Beast. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. His break also from his Ags, very strong in terms of countering certain heroes. I don't know. I think it's
10
probably a personal
seconds
preference that
remaining.
makes him bannable at this stage. I think there's still a bit of meta that could go out.
5 seconds
You know, you can ban the
remaining.
Slark out. Maybe they're planning on picking it. Tusk, another meta hero, you know, that the Lords of Luke have banned. That is a hero who is just a little strong right now. If you see him played as a mid, just one-punching people, and you also see him just buy Blink Ags and just basically be like Pudge, but consistent, which is terrifying that he can just blink onto your high ground, kick your carry off of it, snowball after them. That is, like,
Dire
repeatable.
team pick.
He can just do that. So that's really scary. That's what makes that hero so strong. And Drow, there's another meta ban. Just a strong carry. I think the carries are real flanderized this patch. They have to do an absolutely exceptional amount of damage in a very short
10
period,
seconds
very
remaining.
reliably. And so that's why you're seeing these Ursas, these Slarks, these Drows, these heroes who
5
just,
seconds
they have
remaining.
a little while where they're gonna hit you. Drow is less like that, but with her long range and her slows, she essentially makes up for it. And it's the piercing damage of her ult that makes her special as a carry. It's the fact that, you know, basically no resistance is going to make you completely durable against Drow. Every once in a while, she's just going to chunk you with one of those big old marksmanship or... damn, what is her passive called these days? Her ult is just going to fucking slap you every once in a while. So we see a Vengeful Spirit come out for
5
Gumby's Finest, an
seconds
excellent complement to the Visage. Another swap, a spell that Rubik likes to steal, but nothing incredible. And always able, you know, if she ends up laning with a core Pudge, she'll be able to set him up with Magic Missile. If she ends up laning with Visage, they'll just do tons of damage, either stacking up high damage Magic Missiles and following with Soul Assumption, or just hitting him with the minus armor from Wave of Terror and following that up with just Visage's modest attacks, hastened by his Q. Let me get that streamer mode turned on here for y'all while we wait to see what Lords of Luke feel like picking next. There we go. Streamer mode's on. No more Discord sounds. And an Ember Spirit pick. Another very strong meta mid hero. Doesn't lose mid to much, and pretty much everything he does lose mid to is banned at this point. So we'll see. As long as they've got a good enough Ember player, that should guarantee them a pretty good slot in the mid lane. And Ember, solid hero into Visage. There are some Visage item buys that counter Ember Spirits. But he does generally, if you're prepared enough to deal with Visage, have an incredible time, because Visage has this slow Soul Assumption nuke. He has these very wound up stuns coming off the birds. He just has a hard time actually hitting Ember with any of his important spells. Unless he goes for an item like an Orchid or like a Rod of Atos, which is fairly common on the hero, but not an every game thing. And if he's forced to buy some sort of defensive item because he had a rough lane, or because he's countered by this last pick that Lords of Luke's going to throw out, Ember will have a very easy time dealing with him, because Ember kills him. Oh boy, Ember kills him. Flight of Fist breaks off a charge and then hits the birds. All of his nukes and DOT, just really not easy for Visage to deal with. So we see Leshrac come out, strong hero, Bloodstone meta. Would have been surprised if there wasn't some Bloodstone picker here in this first game. And ideally lanes pretty well into Ember Spirit. His spells are a little easy to, his Q at least, is easy enough for Ember to dodge, but the magic damage just keeps coming from the Leshrac. So he'll burn off that Flame Guard. He'll just have to deal with the spam of Sleight of Fist, which has become meta for Ember these days. And the Slardar pick, let's talk about that. Excellent hero. We see him played as a carry these days. He's still also very playable as an offlaner. But just that repeatable bash, once he hits a certain amount of attack speed, he will chain stun anything he's allowed to hit. And do a terrifying amount of damage while doing it, because that bash does so much and is amplified by his ult. Very strong pick. It'll amplify the Warlock Golem, whose physical damage is usually not much worth talking about. You know, if your support's standing still and getting clicked by Golem, they'll die. But if they're walking away, they usually won't. But with a Slardar R, that lowers the ceiling of damage required to kill a support. And Ember is also going to love it. Sleight of Fist plus that minus armor is going to just absolutely slap and hammer. So we do see Slark get banned here. Klink's banned as well. He's been a little less popular these days. People have sort of learned to just counter his Gleipnir and dodge the damage as a result of countering the Gleipnir. And so he's been less of an issue, but still an annoying hero. Still does just a ton of damage if he's able to get that Q onto anything.
10 seconds.
So we're not going to be seeing him played, and that's nice. Lots and lots of meta bans actually here. You know, these teams both with their first two picks did not pick for meta. They both picked for what appears to be comfort, and so as a result, we're seeing a fairly interesting draft here again. Still the Ember, still the Lishrak, still the Slardar, but the rest of this is not super meta heavy. You know, these are just solid picks, but they're not the same things we can see in every game in our ranked games. Nature's Prophet banned out. I like to see that. I don't think Nature's Prophet would have an exceptionally easy time against this team as somebody who's played way too much of that hero. But he's just really obnoxiously strong this game, this patch. His treants let him just deny every creep. That 1.5 BAT plus 3.6 agility gain, he hits really fast,
5 seconds
really fast in lane. And so it's just really hard to get creeps against him because he has high damage, good animation, good projectile, and tons and tons of effective attack speed against creeps. So he'll just... You know, you'll be swinging for a last hit, and he'll deny that last hit 2 creeps and deny another creep before you get your second auto attack. It's it's craziness, and he's got the treants to help him do it. So, very obnoxious hero, and he scales quite well again as a result of that BAT and those agility gain changes he received recently. He's out. They're not gonna see him picked. And Dusa actually banned by Gumby's Finest. That's an interesting ban because the hero is relatively playable right now, I'd say, but doesn't seem to be meta by any stretch. And I mean, she's a bit tanky for the tastes of Gumby's Finest team. They do modest damage. And now, oh good god, Lords of Blue pulling out the Slardar PA. You know, I think they used to play that when I played with them. It was either them or the guys from Gumby's Finest who I played with. In either case, it's a terrifying combo, and both teams are very well aware of it. It's gonna be interesting to see what Gumby's Finest is able to pull out of their hat, because that is a very, very strong combination. We'll see Bloodseeker actually picked. So a mobility counter. There are 3 very mobile heroes, although Ember I don't believe is affected by Ravage while moving around during his ult. But Slardar and Phantom Assassin certainly do not like it. Even with the Blink Strike, PA does take damage from the Rupture. I don't believe she can get enough cast range to dodge the Rupture damage, so I think she's held down, or at least taken a lot of damage if she does get ruptured. But it is in question whether Bloodseeker will be able to just deal with the absolute manliness of a Slardar. You know, that's a hero who does not like to get kited against a team that does offer a fairly large amount of kiting. Warlock doesn't offer much, but Rubik will probably be able to pick up another stun. It'll be tough. I think both teams are coming out with strong drafts here. I think that the Slardar PA is very easy to execute. And I believe that team has a lot of experience executing it. So we should see that they're having a pretty good time, and that Gumby's Finest will be on the back foot starting the game off here. So starting off here, both teams pinging out
for battle.
Mid. Thinking about wards, thinking about item builds. Salted Codfish, a little slow out of the gate. And both teams a little bit looking at the top side. It seems like Radiant side, they're not planning on going as 5, whereas the Dire are looking to organize, unionize, and I'm not going to finish that remark, you know. I'm just going to leave it as it is. Both teams end up dropping a ward down mid. It's unclear if either team spotted the other team's ward. Yeah, let's see if we can't get some items up here. I think I've got a graph for that. Nope. We'll just click through everybody's items for you here. So I think the lanes are very predictable here. Looks like Slardar's off lane, PA's carry, Ember he's mid, and we have a... hard to see which support's going where on the Radiant. And the Dire... hard to tell. Should be a carry Bloodseeker. And we should see mid for Lishrak. And then we will probably see either the Pudge or the Visage be the core of the off lane, and the other hero the support there, while Benj is going to be supporting safe. So far, neither team lined up to hit each other. So they're just going to safely each take their 2 bounty runes and get things off to a safe and comfortable start. See these two wards here. This one not actually blocking the camp, just scouting things out, trying to keep track of that Pudge, I guess. They're worried he might be in the off lane. Odds are pretty good he is. Yeah, it's going to be Visage, Pudge, offlane. Pudge is going to be a little late, though, which might get Visage an early level, too. But it also might get him killed. He has leveled Soul Assumption and not Grave Chill. Alright, so yeah. Codfish just decides to go ahead and TP. I'll get these last hits wrap up here as the game starts off. A little bit of harass coming out. Alvaroth, not a fan of that. We'll see if he decides to put it back into a Soul Assumption. Looking like he's going to avoid doing that. So far, the Dire taking the majority of the harass in both lanes. Geo beat it's going for a camp block with his body. Alvaroth, yeah, just taking the harass of these two really harassy heroes. They have mana pools and nothing better to spend them on here. But overall, their lane is pushing, so should not be too upset about that. Now back to the mid lane here. Otto coming out for the Ember Spirit. On the way for Leshrac. They are both neck and neck in terms of CS at this point in the game. And let's see top lane. Bit of harass coming out from Arglides and Boonana. The wave is very pushed in, 3 range creeps. But still, Boonana is level 1. But he's been sitting in the side lane, I guess, trading with Geo. We'll check in on the other safe lane, which also appears to have pushed into the tower. We have Warlock looking for a pull here. Fudge salving up. Visage just biding his time. Denied. There's 2 types of lanes as Visage. You're either spamming out Soul Assumption constantly keeping the enemy at low health or dead, or you are doing what he's doing here, which is just chilling, getting some last hits. We're snap back to the top lane. Interesting trade going on here. Nana grouping up with his flag bearer here.
Another name in my grimoire.
And so it seems like the farm is going a little bit in the favor of the Slardar here. In this lane. Lane equilibrium also not great, but Jellyfish is missing enough HP that Bloodseeker can trade with him for now. That bash of the deep. Oh, he's going low. He'll lose a lot of health. He might die here. Follows up his stun. He's got another bash on the way. This is getting close. Rubik does not have the Fade Bolt yet, but he will shortly with the Mango. Right, Slardar able to get out and salve up. And it is close. Argonaut has to be real careful of that Fade Bolt. That 100 damage would hurt him. He's getting salved up by the Venge. It's going to be a half duration salve, which is not ideal, but it'll keep him in the game for now. And they're just going to try and set up. He's got that third bash hit ready. Anything he clicks, ooh, will be close to dying. We did actually see Arcane Supremacy picked up level 2 for the Rubik. That is an interesting decision. It'll strengthen his Fade Bolt, and it won't add the extra mana cost of Telekinesis, but it also means he can't do Fade Bolt and Telekinesis, which is interesting. And we're going to snap down to the next safe lane here. Looks like the offlaners are able to get a good pull-off. That's a very strong camp for killing creeps. Warlock has tied it to the Pudge, but it's also not going to take any more damage, so he will, he's unlikely to do much with that. Pudge is doing more damage to the camp than it's doing to him. He's looking hooky. He's standing right in vision, so probably not going to find much. Visage looks like he's going to be going for possibly Phase Boots, but most likely just a quick little Falcon Blade. His mana, his HP, and his damage up. All things that the hero loves. Bit of harass onto Yeklementosh, but that's just going to be more than overhealed by the Shadow Word. It's kind of just the nature of this lane. I think the way you'd really want to do it is you'd want to slow down the Warlock with Grave Chill and just follow that with a hook immediately. Anytime Warlock steps into a hookable position. Of course, you could also organically land a hook and follow it with Grave Shield, but in either case, it is dependent upon the hook, which has just missed. Much to Juicebox's amusement here. So the way of pushing into the tower, you'll see the top lane. This looks exciting. And another fairly even exchange. Fade Bolt hitting both heroes, but also Slardar taking a considerable amount of damage from that pure blood right.
Really? You just did
Go
that?
check out mid as well. See how they're holding up. Both heroes have hit level 6. Both heroes have an empty bottle. And that Sleight of Fist spam has started to come out from Ember Spirit. After he's hit level 5. He's grabbing another set of tangos, actually, and looking to start controlling a rune. While Rubik controls the others. This will be real bad for Rad if he's not able to get to a rune. And he is not. He goes over and discovers Ember has already taken the rune. If he looks at Ember's inventory now, he'll see it. He's just going to step back, get his courier real quick, and grab a bounty rune to refill his bottle. And top lane, a little bit of aggression. The Slardar hit level 4, so now he's got his sprint. But Brunana able to keep him off with the magic missile. I think Leshrac might have been considering coming up that way, but has decided to go back to mid. Bot lane, Codfish there. Just used up a hook. Looks like it was not successful on account of the full health enemies. And this is just slowly chugging his way to level 6, at which point he will begin to play the game. Dutch's life as the Birdman. In the middle lane here. Ember Spirit going a little bit aggressive with the Flame Guard. It's level 2, so he's able to burn it off real quickly with his ult on Rad. And he does land the stun. This could be bad. He goes down. That level 4 Lightning Storm. And that full 220 damage. I'll admit, I was a little surprised he died right away to that, but I did not realize Rad was maxing Lightning Storm.
Has been killed.
But all the better. Got him that first blood. He's got more CS.
Radiant's
Quite
middle
pleased with how
tower
that's
is
going.
under attack.
And in the top lane, things look peaceful. Bot lane, things even more peaceful. Almost everyone's full HP. That is always subject to change at a moment's notice. All we need to see is a meat hook. Finds Juicebox. Going to start with the Rot. But just going to step back. 2 heroes tied to 1 flag bearer creep. That's not a great fatal bond. Oh, and in the top lane. Gank from Geobetus ends up putting down the Bloodseeker. The aid of that level 3 Bash of the Deep. Oh no, sorry, not Geo's gank. This guy's name is impossible, so I'm going to call him Young, because he changes his name every 5 minutes. I'm going to call the Ember Spirit, his name is Young.
Cut bait.
And he's going to return back to the mid with his airy kill under his belt. Did not end up getting the kill, but participated in it nonetheless. And that's a haste rune for the Leshrac. A very scary guy to have a haste rune on. Another good pull for the Dire here to counter the Radiance pull. The Radiance pull was not stacked. The Dire had a stacked hard pull, so now, yeah, they got to stay here to get their XP. But they are going to lose a creep under tower. And another kill. Unana goes down. This Slardar hits level 6.
I am swiftly out of
In
balance.
full force. Now it is a race of one fast guy versus another. Argalides cannot step up too far, because if he gets hit with 1 stun, he'll get hit with 3. And he's going to start topping his health back off with that crazy healing. The Haste Rune Leshrac. Able to catch the Slardar. Going to look to follow up onto the Rubik, and he's going to get him. Bot lane, nothing happening. Very good for Rad. Putting him at 3 kills. Every kill his team has. And the most kills, obviously, of any player in the game. Great place to be starting off as a Leshrac in a game like this. He needs to be
Dire's middle tower is
strong,
under
because
attack.
otherwise he will dissolve with his lack of armor. And Juicebox stepping up to D-Ward, gets ganked by Bunana, dies to the Soul Assumption. Now Yekel Mentosh, the PA, has to step back, and the birds come up for Visage. So the Dire are looking real happy so far in this game. But it is far from over.
Radiant's
EA
middle
going for a
tower is
battle
under
theory.
attack.
They aren't playing for this part of the game. They are playing for the 20-minute mark. They're playing for maybe the 15-minute mark at the soonest here. So the Dire winning, not surprising. In fact, almost necessary for the Dire to even stand a chance here. And we see Argolides on the Bloodseeker. Picking up some jungle camps in between waves. He doesn't really want to trade with the Slardar much. Any farm he can get without looking at that fish, he's going to get. Fudge securing himself a nice little little bird creep. PA starting to get chipped by the birds, but you know, 1 point in Blur and her high armor with that Wraith Band, she doesn't care so much. Topped off by Juicebox. And we get another Dire TP, so now we have the Venge, the Fudge. Actually, that was a Radiant TP, I think. My audio is weird. Ember ganking bottom. Goes in, roots the Fudge. Visage misses both birds. That DD Ember is going to keep chunking out those big old Sleight of Fists. And Arglide's actually ganks. He ruptures the Ember Spirit. Able to safely dodge the silence. Target switch onto the Rubik. He's a lot easier to kill. Warlock ult goes down. Ember's root catches both birds, who are able to save themselves, but they are still chasing under this tower. Ember's out of mana. Yeffelmintosh wants blood, though. And the birds do both get dropped as far as I can see. The Dire are still wanting to hold this here. DD Rune has worn off. Pudge is not level 6, and he is not going to get it in this fight. Rad shows up. Starts slapping. He is actually stepping back, though. He's worried with his minus armor that he will go down in 100 to 0 if he gets stunned. Slardar does not currently have the bash charges to make that happen, though. The Rad getting jumped. Lands a stun. Does not land a stun, and he is, as a result, going to go down for that. It could have been glorious, but instead, it was alright. That was a 5-hero rotation for the Radiant. They did not end up bringing down a ton, and they did not quite knock this tower down. Although, they could. They don't know that the Dire aren't there, but if they knew, they could. And now we see the Radiant just fanning out from their jungle back into the mid lane, looking to get their XP, finish off their level 6s here. Let's see what hero levels we got. Where's the hero level chart? There it is. E hotkey. We have the Rubik and the Pudge both not hitting their level 6 and working on doing so now. Geo, less than 10 XP away.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Bloodseeker just working on getting that Maelstrom. His CS 4th in the
Radiant's
game.
bottom tower is
Very
under
close
attack.
to his offlaner and
Radiant
below both
structures
mids,
are
but
fortified.
ahead of the enemy carry by a considerable margin. And now we have this Visage.
Dire's middle tower is
Going
under
forward, what
attack.
appears to be Falcon Blade, Tranquil Boots, and that should be a Drums. It's everything that goes into Drums, so it ought to be a Drums. And they're just going to go and scout out this Warlock hiding here, and they found him. There's nothing on God's green earth that is going to save that man. Rad's going to kill that tower with what is now a maxed out Diabolic Edict. He has gone from 0 points in Edict 4 in the last few minutes or so.
A tool to teach.
And also picking up himself a Mechanism, going to build into Greaves and just make that
Dire's
team
top
very
tower
hard to
is
bring
under
down.
attack.
And this should prove to be a very strong threat against that Slardar build, because that'll both give him the passive armor that you get from Greaves, and the aura armor that you get from Greaves, and the Dispel. So he will be very resistant to Ember's disable, PA's disable, and
Radiant's
Slardar's
bottom
damage.
tower
And we
is
see
under attack.
Visage burning a Drums charge, getting a TP. There's 3 heroes chasing him. He does end up getting rooted and rocked, but the rock is stopped.
Dire's
Stop
middle
that.
tower is under
The rock is stacked with the root, but he does still go down. Walking a little faster than normal, not enough to get him out of it, and he's just trying to keep his birds
Radiant's
alive.
top tower is under attack.
Slardar tries to hunt him, but they can fly, so not going to have much luck with that. Rad chipping down this top Radiant tier 1, the last tier 1, and unlikely the enemies are going to be able to TP enough heroes to save it, so we should see him get that, whereas the Radiant are going to go ahead and knock down the Dire
Dire's
off lane
bottom
tier
tower is
1.
under attack.
They'll mark their first tower of the
Dire's
game.
bottom tower has fallen.
Looks like a ward being spotted out. Yeah.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
We see here the Dire currently holding the majority of the map. Visage just building these nice aura items.
Never refuse gold.
Drums, the Vlads, Leshrac going for his Greaves. Potential Spirit still working on Arcane Boots, and Pudge also just working on those trivial early game items. Nothing big coming out from them. See what the Radiant supports are up to. Looking for a Rubik. Already has his Arcane Boots, so he's doing better on gold than his compatriots here, and he's looking to get himself a Aether Lens and a Glimmer Kit coming up on the Warlock. So the supports of the Radiant definitely feeling a little better. See Ember Spirit just pushing up mid, trying to get that last hit to finish off. There we go. That Maelstrom of his, and the Maelstrom Orbit Corrosion, Phase Boots, he's going to do so much damage with Sleight of Fist. But hopefully these aura items, these armor auras, the Vlads and the Greaves are really going to help out for the Dire. We have Rad teleporting mid. He's just finished his Greaves, so we should see the Dire trying to make a push here. Bloodseeker still nearby, standing in his own triangle. But there is no tower to push. So this is a bit of an interesting play. With the Dire, they're still farming. PA's got her Battle Fury. She's clearing an Ancient stack with Blur. And Ember goes in. So gets swapped half an inch. So far doing a lot of damage to Leshrac. Lesh pops his Greaves, but Pudge is in. Lesh wants to step back and use regen, but he can't while he's linked. Warlock goes down. Lunana gets jumped by 3. Unable to finish off Geopetus. And Bloodseeker, very horny, but very stifled. Unable to get in and find something to hit. He TP's out. And no hook from Pudge. Means that the Radiant are still standing here in this mid lane. Young Ember still able to get his last hits, but ultimately no objective accomplished other than just keeping the Dire off of Phantom Assassin, which really is their objective. If that Phantom Assassin is able to get her, you know, Battle Fury, BKB, Deso in good timing, they're not feeding on the Radiant team. The game will be scary for the Dire. And we see actually a little bit of rotation. Phantom Assassin looking to gank with Jellyfishy. They know their strength, and they do find a scan that hits Arclakes, and they see him. And the Blur breaks, and she's going to jump in. Slardar blinking in, and this is that terrifying combo. These guys, you know, the Battle Fury PA is part of the ganking unit, and that is extremely scary to deal with. That their farming late game carry is actually also very capable of aggression. But we see the Radiant committing for this bottom tower. It has no fortify, and so it is just going to go down. And now we see the strongest of both teams clashing here. Big stun from Leshrac, hits 2. And now they know why that wasn't a good idea. Just eating these AoE disables from the Lesh and the birds. Taking tons of magic damage, tons of physical damage. Very scary thing for them to have to deal with. They got a little overconfident, and that is very important for the Dire. They are glad that they showed up to feed in 2 kills.
A tithe to the impurities.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And those drum charges going to good work, getting Fortify out. Always scary. Fortify in a massive threat to the birds, because tower damage is not reduced by Gravekeeper's Cloak, so those birds will die in approximately 2 seconds of exposure to a fortified tower. So they basically have to drop. We see a smoke from the Radiant. They are really trying to capitalize on this timing they've got with Jellyfish's Blink. And they don't want the Pudge, but they'll take him if he's the only thing they can get to. And they let young Ember get the kill. They're going now into the Visage. They hit his bird, though, with his slow, but there should still be a Blink coming up. They're able to catch him. Structure onto the Slardar. He didn't even notice for a bit, but he doesn't care much anyway. That is 5 heroes you're having to contend with there. That is just not something you're going to be able to stop. Maybe if Rad was right there and able to stomp them on that choke point, but the scary movement. And now they're looking at Roche. Another terrifying thing about combo is, you know, Roche dies quick to Slardar PA. Real quick. And it doesn't appear that the Dire are aware. They don't have any wards in the area. And this is that combo. This is that 20-minute spike. There's a bird trying to scout out the Roche pit. They are aware now, and Roche is not dead. The Shrek is showing up.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Big Rock catches 2. The Shrek taking lots of damage. He's not able to lifesteal it up yet. He does not have any lifesteal. Gets everyone low, but then a big stun comes out from Jellyfishy and kills the 2 who are going to follow it up. But a buyback from Venge, actually. Resummon birds on the Visage.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Trying to finish down the Ember, bringing him low. Birds go down. A combination of Swap and Soul Ascension is able to bring down the Ember, but at the cost of Venge's buyback and Visage's life. And wow. 20 minutes. They take Aegis. They force a buyback. They get a team wipe. Very, very
Radiant's
good
bottom
2
tower
minutes
is under attack.
for the Radiant
Dire's
here.
middle tower is under attack.
That should bring out these next items. We're going to see an Aether Lens on the Rubik. We're going to see a Glimmer Cape on the Warlock. The
Radiant's
PA
bottom tower
almost
is
has her
under
BKB, and Lardar's approaching it. And now there's a very scary, very, very, very scary for this Bloodseeker, because he needs to be ahead. You know, Leshrac can bring the enemy team low. He can, he's able, he's willing. But Bloodseeker really needs this BKB so that he can finish off kills before he just gets kited. And Leshrac is really, I mean, he's going for that shard, which will be super helpful for defense. But what he really would love to have is a finished Bloodstone right now, and he is very far from that. You know, going for Kaya and Sanj instead, he's going to have a hard time surviving, because there's just so much damage coming out. I mean, you can purge off, you know, you can purge off one Corrosive Haze, but another one is going to come shortly after it. And in any case, they do a lot of damage. Like, these heroes, this PA, this Ember Spirit, they do a lot of damage without Corrosive Haze. And so, as Leshrac, I mean, they know once Leshrac goes down, the Dire don't have a lot of damage. You know, Bloodseeker is really, he's not that scary yet. He doesn't have a shard, he doesn't have a Mjolnir. And he can be easily kited with his lack of BKB. So if Leshrac dies, odds are a fight's over. Odds are the Radiant have won. And right now, they don't have that many things, you know, keeping them from killing him. So Visage taking this risky farm is going to get punished for it. It's spotted out and going to get bashed again. The hook comes... Oh, the hook is just short. And he's down. Rupture attempting to prevent more death, but the Radiant very present in this area. Should be able to catch a root. Oh! Pops the Searing Chains early. Not going to be able to get the catch. And a big swap on a Geobetus. But only one dying for that one is going to be the Vengeful Spirit. Oh, and Rad getting caught. This is very important here. Okay, and he gets hooked out. Excellent. Right after Rock gets used too. That's great. Alright, what a good hook. Salted Codfish redeeming himself for any hooks he may have missed in the past. That one right there probably just saved the game. Glimmer Cape finished and present on the Warlock. BKB, still got a 9-second BKB on the Ember Spirit. Venom Assassin, also her 9-second BKB, and a Brigand's Blade. Slardar approaching his BKB. They win this next fight, he'll probably have it. So they are confidently pushing, even though Rock is down. They have the Aegis. The game is still completely in their field here.
Dire's middle tower
Visage not quite able to finish off his item. They do smoke, I believe, in Vision. It's daytime, so the Radiant are very aware that they smoked and where they smoked. So they're going to run over here, the top lane, or the bottom lane instead, and just start pushing that tower.
Under attack.
Considering maybe there's a ward on that cliff, but... don't have any way to get flying vision over it. Maybe Rubik will send his courier up. Maybe they're just trying to plant their own ward. But in any case, they're just going to start pushing this tower. And the Dire, well, there's a mixture of they don't care that much about that tower, and they don't think they can defend it. Yeah, that's a very tough tower to defend, especially when the enemy has control of this cliff board here. This cliff really determines who owns this tower. You know, it doesn't matter who the tower's shooting at. If this tower... If there's a ward on this cliff for your team, you own this tower. It is yours. And if the enemy is, you know, invaded, you can kill him. So another jump going out. They do miss the Visage. Rupture going out onto the Slardar. Visage still goes down though. That PA BKB is long. And so the cores who are able to do just escape for the Dire. This is a very difficult time for them to deal with, because Leshrac is already weak into the BKB timings. He normally depends on being ahead for that, and him being slightly ahead did not matter one goddamn bit, because these BKB timings are complemented by that PA playing around with a Blink Slardar who has Corrosive Haze. So Rad desperately farming. If he gets himself a Ghost Scepter, he will be way more durable. Way more durable into this physical damage. I mean, there's some magic damage coming out, but a lot of it does come from, you know, Maelstroms and auto attacks, and so being able to deal with that will be very helpful for him. And he's going to go for a Shiva's Guard next, just an armor item. He is not going for the Bloodstone. Does not care one wiggly bit about it.
Dire's top tower
Radiant
is under
just
attack.
making sure no Dire farm in the Dire jungle. That's our jungle. Dire look like they're grouping up for a smoke play here. Waiting for Arglikes to finish off that wave. And group up, smoke. See what they can find themselves. PA's BKB should be back up. About 10 seconds, but they're going to swap her in. He gets hooked even further. The BKB's still down, and she goes down. No Aegis. Rock is down. There's a good old
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Fatal Bonds on them. They are able to bring down the Venge. He had to step out of position after that swap, but she's happy enough with that so far.
Dire's middle tower has
And
fallen.
the Radiant lose a tower, but gain a very important kill. And honestly, oh, they are looking at Geo, and they catch him. I'm not sure how they have vision to that. Oh, this ward here. Yep, so he TP'd under the assumption they did not have vision, but he had failed to deward that area. And there he just pinged. He pinged where he was.
Tower is under attack.
Maybe he thinks they have a ward on that spot. That is a spot that people place a ward, but it is in fact over here. And now the Dire are pushing. I did not think we'd see the Dire pushing this soon, but they've just won that fight.
Radiant's middle tower
They push
is
real
under
fast. They're going to
attack.
get to knock down a free tower for it.
Radiant's
And this should
middle
earn them
tower
some
has
very
fallen.
important land. You can see the Radiant have wards all over their triangle, all over the Dire triangle, but the Dire jungle is actually not that warded. So hopefully, the triangle being easier to deward, we will see some dewards going up in that triangle for the Dire. And they are going to be able to take their jungle back. It was a very, very big deal that PA's BKB was down for that exact period, because the chain stuns, I don't believe she was properly chain stunned, but even if she was, you know, there's no guarantees that that Pudge ult's going to be able to finish. They would have to chain stun with Visage's Birds, Magic Missile, and Split Earth, which can be tricky to do. Blast Rig coming out, Visage going to take that, absolutely. Not going to say no to 7 armor in that active, obviously very useful against PA. Basically, can't get jumped by PA or Slardar without them committing their BKB. Great for them. And there's a Haste Rune top. Both teams playing on that side of the map, mostly. Ember Spirit has picked up his Aghanim Scepter. Very strong item, makes him very hard to escape or to lock down in fights. Although he is still rocking the Arcane Ring. And sometimes you don't get anything better. They hook that Haste Rune, they're waiting to take it, and they do... They don't see that Warlock, but that Warlock sees them. And he places down a ward on the low ground. Make sure that that stays the case. Doesn't seem that they've seen that he placed the ward. They just saw him suddenly be revealed, so... They just assumed that was the end of his Glimmer Cape, and Glimmer Cape ended closely enough after that. They should have no reason to believe there's a ward there. Both teams now squaring up around the Roche pit. Roshan still dead. Gonna be dead. For a minute. And Warlock, he wants to deward this cliff. And he's going to go ahead and do so. That should give the enemy some inclination as to where, some sort of an inkling as to where he's at. That Pudge Blink
Dire
is
are
up.
scanning.
Got the BKB on the Bloodseeker, 9 seconds. Slardar runs and he gets it started on the Visage. And gets hooked deeper in. Ruptured. Pudge ult. That is a lot of stuff to be putting on the enemy offlaner. So PA jumps in. Big rock. And Rad is hasted, but he is bailing. He knows this is already over. That rock, things were bad. They're going to try and finish off the Slardar. They do end up getting him, but Visage is eventually going to go down. That shard can only keep him alive for so long. And a Titan Sliver on the ground. It's hard to tell which team that's from. That is going to win control of the Roche pit for the Radiant. Roshan currently not spawned, but will be shortly. And with control of that outpost, it will be difficult for the Dire to contest. that Roshan attempt.
Mine.
And also difficult to control waves, because while hitting Roshan, only PA and Slardar really need to be there. So there are still 3 Radiant heroes who could, theoretically, control the waves. So as the Dire, you do have to watch out for that. The Plate Mail coming out for the Leshrac, making him quite resistant to physical damage now. Blast Rig, Plate Mail, Guardian Greaves, Ghost Scepter. But Roshan respawns, and looks like the Dire are in absolutely no place to contest it. If they all ran as fast as they could, they would struggle to get there. And Rosh is just going to fall even faster now that Slardar... Oof! Give me for that. Now that Slardar has showed up. He's just sitting on the deck. His inventory full of iron branches. He neglected to drop, but we're able to get it worked out. That's an Aegis for the PA, and a guard, I believe, coming out. I did not see who ended up picking that up, but Slardar's got one now, and he probably didn't pay for it. That should help smooth his initiation. He doesn't have to blink in, crush someone, and then haze them. He can blink in, crush them, beat them, and then haze someone else. And again, we are still very much... Let's see what Dota thinks. Dota thinks the Radiant are 80% winning this game, and I'd be with them on that. I think that's a very fair guess as to who's going to win here. There's still, again, there are worlds in which the Dire are able to win this game. The Blood Rage on the Leshrac to increase spell amp on him. That is probably part of their draft strategy. Not something I normally consider with Bloodseeker, but it is, you know, 30% spell amp is a lot. And so hopefully they'll be able to make use of that. What I want to see on this Leshrac is a Bloodstone.
Dire's top tower is
I
under
think instead of
attack.
Bottle, he ought to get it. You know, just a casual Lifesteal Mask would be very helpful for him. He should gain hundreds of HP in fights. Now they're looking at him, they're pinging him. They're lusting, but their initiators are in the mid lane. So the Dire are just holding up, making sure they're not visible under any wards. They haven't dewarded this last spot, but fortunately for them, there is no ward there. Nor on the area between the mid and bot tier 3s. And a hook comes out. They catch the Rubik. That should be the end of him. Yep. Put simply, Ven's going to go for a swap. Not quite able to catch anything she feels like catching, but she runs forward and deleted. Gone. Absolutely evaporated. And now both teams down a hero. PA still up the Aegis. And not quite able to get the swap. Stepping forward a little too boldly. Maybe she would have been able to get it if she had the Eye of the Vizier instead of the Philosopher's Stone. The Dire still comfortable pushing, at least threatening. You know, they might not want to jump up there and farm, but them getting a jump onto any important hero is going to be absolutely their cue to go and kill all of them. But Leshrac now, he's finished his Shiva's Guard. Rad doing a great job farming. The most farmed hero in the game in terms of last hits. And in terms of net worth, just barely lagging behind the PA. So absolutely excellent farming performance here by Rad. Really keeping his team in the game. And a swap goes out on the Ember Spirit. Both Ember and PA stunned by the Venge stun. But so far, nothing really actionable here. Rock goes out, and Rock goes down. Ooh, and the Wraith's Reprisal canceling the blink for Slardar, so he was unable to get a follow-up stun. And now his BKB is down. And so they've seen the Slardar BKB go down. They haven't seen PA's BKB go down. I believe it just came back up. I think that's what I saw. So 2 BKBs still for the Radiant, and they blink forward, catch 2. Bloodseeker pops BKB, but he's just taken so much damage. He's got to run away with it, and he's going to go down. And chain stuns for Lesh. He's got low health. The Ghost Scepter keeping him alive, but he can't get his health back up. Bloodseeker buys back. Catches another long stun. I'm not sure what's stunned in there. Oh, he got bashed by the Phantom Assassin. That's what it is. So Leshrac also buying back. Going to be able to follow up and kill the PA. So the Dire are now financially crippled, but they've kept their buildings. And right now, they have the standing to win fights. Their Leshrac is up. Their Visage is... No birds. No, he's got birds. He's up. They got the Pudge. They have a crew here who can win fights, and so they're able to push out and regain some territory, regain some farm. And Lesh is going to try and grab himself a sheep stick to help just chain stun and burst these important heroes before they're able to get spell, BKBs off. The catch from Venge Pudge is very strong, so being able to follow that up with a Hex will not be bad. But again, I am crying and shitting and coming over here because this guy really... I think he should buy a Voodoo Mask. I'm not a Leshrac player, but I think that spell lifesteal would be absolutely massive because he does, especially with the Bloodseeker Q on him. Thousands of spell damage, so he will get hundreds of HP. If he's able to just damage heroes, which he always has been. All of these melee cores are taking his damage, but there is the concern of the enemy BKBs, during which he gets no spell lifesteal. So if he's worried about that, I'd understand it. And we have Pudge going for a casual buckler, and then he's going to grab a shard. That will be a big deal. Him being able to gobble someone up and keep them from getting bursted will be absolutely massive. Particularly the Leshrac and the Bloodseeker, these damage heroes with low cooldowns, but also there's like Visage who just keeps getting initiated on. I mean, he's the offlaner, he's not upset about that, but he keeps getting grabbed. Being able to grab, maybe a Venge, keep her alive just a little bit longer so she can throw out more of those double stuns, make sure that Wave of Terror and that Vengeance Aura are active. Maybe get a very key swap. In this game, this is a lot closer than I thought it was. The Radiant went a little deep going under the tier 4s there, forcing all the buybacks, but also giving the buybacks something to chew on. Bloodseeker going for a basher of his own here. And Rad pushing up very boldly. The Dire do not see the Radiant to know that they're very far away. But he does have the Pudge behind him. And he's going to go for an Aghanim Scepter, get himself that Nihilism. That will be devastating. If he's able to survive until after you key BKBs, that Nihilism will do wonders against this team. And the Radiant have smoked in. They see the Dire. They're going to blink forward, and they catch the carry, and he's down. Visage gets caught as well. Leshrac gets caught as well. And this looks like it might be the end. Visage able to stall out. Leshrac not caught by anything that can kill him. DP's out. And Visage and Pudge both drop, and now we have only Leshrac. Visage may be able to buy back, but this is looking scary. PA 20 Desolator charges. The Paladin Sword for a lifesteal item that doesn't take a slot. And these two, ideally they'll stall, but they're going to get jumped. They have to get his Ghost Scepter off, but there's a Nullifier. There's a Nullifier. Who's got it? Ember's got the Nullifier, and that is it. There is not going to be a comeback from that. Radiant are going to start going through the barracks. They could go for Throne. We'll see if they decide to do so. They are going for it. But they're going to change their mind. They're feeling a little nervous. Maybe something weird will happen. They decide to go for the bottom racks. Absolutely shredding it. The combination of Desolator and Orb of Corrosion. Just so much tower damage. And this is a strategy these guys run all the time. The Slard RPA, it's so scary. And it's complemented by this Ember. Ember fills in a lot of weaknesses those two have. They've got the team fight from the Warlock, just that big old stun to say, hey, you can't group as 5 and deal with this, or you're all going to die. And the Rubik to say, hey, anything you found to deal with this, we're going to have to. So the last Fortify going out for the Radiant. They get a swap on a PA. She gets stunned, ruptured. Not taking a lot of damage though. Able to get her BKB off. Bloodseeker runs in, gets immediately bashed. He's running, but he's not able to outrun Blink Strike. He goes down. And there's the Visage. Coming back up in that shard, he's down as well. Very strong strategy, and we should see in Game 2 that it is banned. Because, my god, they make it look impossible to beat. I've played with it, I've played barely against it, but god, playing with it, it just feels so strong. The game just ends. And here it is, it's over. Lords of Luke taking a win in Game 1. Oh, that felt very decisive. The Leshrac able to hold them back for a little while. A couple good hooks by the Pudge, and the good positioning of the Visage. Generally, he was the guy who was getting jumped, and he was very happy about that. But they are just not quite able to get the Bloodseeker to a place where he can deal with that ridiculous amount of damage. And man, he was just eating the bashes every time. You know, PA eventually got Abyssal, which makes it happen, but he was just getting bashed at really unopportune moments. And not able to, you know, follow up his team's damage as a result of that, regardless of his BKB. So I'm going to go ahead and put up the lobby for game 2, and we'll see if we can get everybody in here. All right. Game 2 lobby is up. I'm going to notify the players. All right, let's see what kind of announcements we have. Ah, stream links, okay. What a nice game. I don't know what's convention here. I might just coin toss this pick side selection. We should see what they're able to do. I'm imagining we're going to see a ban on either the PA, the Slardar, maybe both. But really, the Slardar is the instrumental part of that thing that makes the PA just a little too strong with her BKB timing. Or, I mean, shoot, with no timing, honestly, she could earn a Battle Fury off of that Slardar. You know, that is... Okay, Jellyfish is good, Rad's good. Let's see who gets what. Team Gumby's finest. Getting the pick this time. Not sure if they got it last time. But we will see. Oh my god, I'm running out of steam. That's... All right. I will be right back. I'll let my co-caster entertain you in the meantime. You'll have to figure out who it is, though, because I don't know. But I'll be back here in just about a minute. right, folks. We're fucking back. Grabbed up brownie to keep my heart from stopping. Let's fucking get this going. Game 2. Gumby's finest. Lords of Luke. Let's see who's got the fucking chutzpah. Let's start our PA combo. Hopefully we won't see that again. Hopefully they'll be smart enough to ban that out again. But if they are not, oh good God, I hope they have a counter ready. Because that shit rolls. Very scary. You know, you saw how many armor items, how many auras and things they had, but it's just, it's too much damage. It's too much damage. You're not going to live through it. You can buy a Ghost Scepter. That helps a lot. That helps a ton. But they can buy a Nullifier. That's not an item that, you know, they had 3 heroes who could have bought a Nullifier. They don't mind.
Dire team ban.
Once you buy a Nullifier,
Team ban.
none of your defensive items matter. Your Ghost Scepter doesn't matter. Your Glimmer Cape, your Force Step, they don't matter. You're going to take that fucking damage and you're going to like it. And so it's best just to ban that out. Don't let both those heroes get picked.
Dire
But they like that Slardar. They don't just run it with the PA. They run that Slardar with lots of other heroes.
Radiant team pick.
So far, not seeing a first phase ban though. We'll see in the Lena Treant and the DP Ricky. Same 4 we saw last game.
Ten seconds remaining.
Dire debating their first pick. Up. Alright, going for a Rubik. Once again. Good first pick. Not first picking their Slardar, though. We'll see. Maybe they'll get it in this next pick before the next ban phase. Because I would be real concerned about that getting banned. But maybe, you know, Gumby's finest don't necessarily know that is a, like, that's a meme with these guys. They run that, they win, like, every game. Alright, so we see Jakiro Visage picked out, so they're not gonna ban pick the Slardar. They are gonna stick with the Visage. I mean, it felt good. It felt good. It felt hard, but good, last game. But I think anything would have felt hard. Jakiro, always a very solid, great hero to have. And wow. Alright, Rubik Warlock. They're running that again as well. So here's another ban phase. Maybe we'll see Gumby's finest ban the Slardar. Maybe we'll see them lose. Who knows? It could be either of the two, but it can't be anything other than those two. So we'll see which one they decide to go for.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team
that Warlock just made the PA hard to harass.
Team ban.
She didn't die in her lane, I believe, because of that. You know, she just... If Warlock's there, she's getting healed, and... Really what you gotta do is you gotta go on the carry enough to convince Warlock to heal him, and then you gotta kill the Warlock before his heal comes back up. Which not every lane can do. You know, Visage does struggle with that sort of thing with a hero like Pudge, because Visage doesn't want to be the setup. Visage wants to be the follow-up. And Pudge also wants to be the follow-up, so he can get a good, easy hook that covers a large distance. But they were capable. Maybe they had quick boots on the Pudge. They were capable of maybe Rot running down the Warlock. Tricky, though.
Radiant team ban.
We see Leshrac banned and Nature's Prophet banned by Lords of Luke. Leshrac did feel a little strong, but it wasn't even the Bloodstone meme meta. That was just some good, honest Leshrac gameplay. He farmed very well all game, fought very well. And then Nature's Prophet banned. Maybe they've looked into some Dota buffs. Seems a little early to ban that hero, but again, strong hero. And not one that Warlock deals well with. Warlock hates Nature's Prophet. Very easy for Prophet to kill Warlock. Basically, any time in the game he sees Warlock, he can kill him. And, you know, survival items notwithstanding. Maybe he has to grab a Nullifier and maybe an Orchid, whatever. But he's also just really great at kiting the Golem, because the Golem can't buy Quelling Blade. So you can just sprout the Golem. And it's not going to do anything. You can also body block the Golem. It does not have phased movement, so Treants can body block it. The more bans we see Ursa get banned again by Lords of Luke. Fuck that bear. Understandable. And we see the Slardar does get banned. Okay, their last ban of the phase by Gumby's Finest. They also ban out the Ember Spirit, which
10
felt strong and is
seconds
meta,
remaining.
so fair enough. And the Sniper. So we're seeing, what did we see
5
last game ban that
seconds
we
remaining.
don't see now? Lina is still banned. So as far as meta mids, not a lot left in the pool. There's a bit of Angelier maybe. Shoot, I mean, yeah, we got the DP banned out as well. There's not a lot of meta mids left, so maybe we'll see an interesting matchup in the mid lane. I'm worried about it though. Usually you see if a team loses game one, something that wasn't the enemy mid, they kind of undervalue their mid lane pick, and they can sometimes get absolutely
Radiant
stomped on
team
for it.
pick.
We see a Witch Doctor come out, so now we should presumably be looking at the 5, the 3, and the 4, respectively, for Gumby's Finest. Witch Doctor, excellent hero. Good in team fights, excellent in small team fights. And strong
10
laner
seconds remaining.
with moderate to excellent scaling, depending on
5
item build.
seconds remaining.
So, very solid opening for Gumby's Finest. The Maledict goes amazingly with Soul Assumption. Visage Witch Doctor
Radiant
is a
team pick.
terrifying lane. And hopefully we'll see them able to capitalize on it, because Visage he looked a little sad. I'm gonna be honest. You know, not sad like from that third perspective, like a homeless guy shitting themselves. Not that type of sad. Just sad like, you know, when you're looking at somebody and they, you know, they're smiling but not
10
with their eyes.
seconds
That's the type of sad that the Visage was last game. And you're welcome for that
5
colorful
seconds
example.
remaining.
Lords of Luke picking up an axe. That BKB piercing, low cooldown, AoE, long duration disable. Good to have. And a Zeus. Zeus, great at shredding layers off of Visage, but also Visage is a little, you know, he's a little resistant to Zeus. He's hard to kill with Thunder Gods. He doesn't take much damage from an initial Thunderbolt.
Radiant team
But Zeus is
back.
good at shredding up the layers and the birds, and Axe is excellent at killing the birds. You know, Axe gets a call on Visage and his birds, and birds are dying. The birds are dead. Birds attack really fast. Axe is going to proc tons of counter helix, so Axe, very good pick into the Visage. The only reason Visage is, you know, decent against Axe is that Soul
remaining.
Assumption does do lots of big chunks of damage, so Axe does gradually die
5 seconds remaining.
over the course of a team fight. And we see the Tusk pick for Gumby's Finest, presumably a mid. At this point, they wouldn't really be able to flex it into a support, so that should pretty much be a commitment to mid Tusk, which is a bit bold, but there's also most likely a commitment into mid Zeus for the Lords of Luke. So if they're ready to deal with a Zeus as Tusk, they should be okay. And he's a strength hero, he could buy a
Dire
magic
team
stick, he's a big boy.
Radiant team
He should
back.
be okay. And he does threaten Zeus. Zeus does not like Tusk's ridiculous mobility, approach, and physical damage. And we see Spectre ban by Gumby's Finest. Very interesting. I mean, a fairly strong hero. A hero that the Lords of
10
Luke play
seconds
well.
remaining.
Not exceptionally meta, though, and I don't
5
think it's a
seconds
super
remaining.
strong counter to any of Gumby's Finest heroes, so that's interesting. I don't think Lords of Luke's bans or picks even gave away that they might have wanted a Spectre pick. So I'm weirded out by that. They've been the Monkey King. They don't want Monkey King beating up their Axe, which is fair. I feel that. That's good. You know, no Monkey, no Ursa, so that pretty much means Axe is going to have kind of an okay lane. We might see a Slark ban. We might see one of these two teams picking Slark with their last pick here, or banning it with their last ban. Because Slark is decent into Axe, you know, under some circumstances. Axe plus Zeus is pretty good against Slark, but like Axe plus Warlock, Slark is pretty favored, I think, in that lane. It's really about the ability to get Slark's HP low enough that he can't afford to continue stacking up Essence by hitting the Axe. Otherwise, as soon as the creep wave is gone, Slark just kind of jumps Axe and can potentially 100 to 0 him with his support helping out. You know, Jakiro's got a low cooldown, long duration slow, so Jakiro plus Slark could kill an Axe solo, easy. And probably kill an Axe if there's a Rubik with no mana, or a Rubik who's used Fade Bolt on someone other than Slark.
Dire team ban.
And a
Radiant
Morphling
team
ban,
pick.
actually, and a PL ban. Okay, we're not banning meta here. PL would have been very strong for Lords of Luke, and they might, now that they see that PL ban, consider some other illusion carry like Naga Siren. They currently don't have a great answer to that on Team Gumby's Finest. They still have this last pick, and they will be able to
10
respond.
seconds remaining.
So hopefully they'll they'll
5
do so if there's an
seconds
illusion
remaining.
carry picked out. The Morphling ban, little confused by that. Good hero, not exceptional against anything think, of these heroes. You know, they do. I guess they do a lot of damage over time, not a lot of magic burst necessarily, but a good amount of magic burst. And so, no, I don't think he lanes very well into any of these heroes. That's interesting.
Ranger.
So Drow picked out, meta hero. Axe can protect her pretty good. Warlock can protect her pretty good. You can protect herself pretty good. But yeah, there is still a Tusk to get on top of her. But otherwise, there are 3 ranged heroes, so there's not just some, you know, support who can casually stand on her to reduce her damage. But
5 seconds remaining.
I think Gumby's Finest is still in a good place in this draft. They can... A very strong counter to both the Zeus and the Drow are countered by kind of the same types of heroes. You know, they need a carry. I'm predicting we'll see something like a Slark. It's not perfect. Lots of good BKB piercing AoE disables on the Lords of Luke. But he's just such a strong hero these days with that Ags, that gap close. It's just ridiculous. But he could, you know, he could get silenced by the Drow, and he might be worried that doesn't have the skills or, you know, fighting strategies to avoid that. If he does get hit by any one disable, he will probably get silenced as a follow-up. They might not want to pick this Slark. But they should be probably considering a jumpy melee carry. I'm seeing a bit of Sven these days, although I'm seeing him as a support a lot. They might pick something like a Juggernaut, even though he's not a fan of Warlock Axe, again, that piercing stuff. But we should see a jumpy melee guy coming out from the Dire of Gumby's Finest.
Nature's guardian returns.
Let's see. Who are we likely to see here? I think there's a... Yeah, melee. There we go. Spectre's banned out. That's not an option. You could maybe go like a Faceless Void, I guess, if you wanted to. PA's not banned. They could pick a PA. They might pick Bloodseeker again. He's... You know, less terrible this game. Lots of damage from the enemy, but not a lot of casual disable. Although, yeah, it's tricky. But they might pick Bloodseeker. Let's see, they got 1 second. Wow, letting it down to the wire, they do pick the Juggernaut.
Now select your heroes.
Many carry players very comfortable on that hero. So hopefully we'll see it work out. You know, it is a hero who's capable of killing Axe in lane. Oh shit, Sneaky Chalupa. Huh. That's who that is. Sorry, I know that name. I didn't realize he was here. His pro name, so it shows up like that, even though over here on the right, his name doesn't show up as Sneaky Chalupa. And so we should see, you know, a Juggernaut Witch Doctor, Juggernaut Jakiro can lane against an Axe if they do it right. So we should see that the lanes are stable enough for both teams. The Axe can also lane into the Juggernaut Jakiro if he's able to do it right. You know, for Jug Jakiro, it's about keeping Axe's health low so that you're always, you know, anytime spin is up, you're threatening his life. And keeping your own health high, you know, avoiding taking big chunks of spins without also damaging the Axe back a lot. Pretty basic stuff, honestly. Feels a little unnecessary to say, but really it's about whoever does more damage to the enemies in a burst.
Prepare for battle.
Without taking a massive burst themselves. That's the guy who's doing well in that lane. We see Axe starting off with a magic stick. Presumably he expects a Jakiro. So he might get that. You know, really, Witch Doctor Jakiro can both go for if they want to, but you'll usually see Jakiro players or 5 players. You know, you usually see Witch Doctor players are more common on 4 these days. Our Ranger going to be obviously the carry, and we are indeed seeing a Zeus mid going for a quick bottle. Rad going a full magic wand at this. Guard, maybe going full magic wand at the start against the Zeus. Delay his bottle considerably, and they are attempting to sneak up here and counter this bottom rune play. But they have walked under the ward of Juice Box, and so they are simply just going to rotate up and take the top 2 runes. We will see if the Dire let them do that. And it looks like, yeah, it's going to be 2 runes for each team, just the opposite 2 runes of the runes that they normally get. Now we're going to see Jug having to run to get to his lane. A good ward by the Warlock. If not preventing first blood, certainly delaying it. Now Jug doesn't have TPing to his lane, so he's going to start low on mana and without a TP scroll for possibly returning to lane cheaply after having to... Well, you don't really run base. That's not something you really do. So, less bad in this case. He's not going to escape with it. Okay, and it is the Witch Doctor Jug, so I think that is the stronger lane against the Axe here. Maledict allowing Spin to do massive, massive damage. Here we see Jakiro Visage. Slightly weaker than Witch Doctor Visage, but still very strong. I trade a little harass with the Drow Ranger here. There's that Soul Assumption. That's what you want. You want to be racking up 3 Soul Assumption charges and just spitting them onto the enemy carry. Speaking of spitting, Battle Hunger Axe. What a guy. You see a little spin action coming out here onto the Rubik. Level 1 spin. Going to do a ton of damage. Not going to kill him. Definitely not the same as a level 2 spin. Right now, Dire safe lane pushing up a little bit. As the Radiant so far managed to keep theirs held static, but they are going to kill this range creep faster, so they are probably going to be pushing out here shortly as well. Level 2 Warlock bullying the level 1 Jakiro. Jakiro attempts to go for a pull, but Warlock is right there, man. Ooh, interestingly, we see so far, let's check on the mid lane here, Tusk is ahead on CS by a considerable margin. Also managing to keep his HP pretty high. He's got a bottle coming out here. He's pretty happy about that. Bot lane. Both teams trading a lot of harass. Jakiro falling low. Goosebox lands a good Fatal Bonds, catches the creep wave, and both heroes. Ooh. Unana probably going to be forced to leave lane, or at least buy a salve and hang out for a while. So he's not happy about that, but Visage is not minding as much, because there's little chance of aggression from these two on the Visage. You know, he'll take some harass, but he probably won't die. But he will get this solo XP. Top lane, Salted Codfish going for a pull. Geobetus saying no. Considering... Ooh, now Codfish tanking both the camp and the Rubik. Rubik has lift, does not throw him back into the camp, though. He gets to live another day, and he just goes right over the Axe, and they're going to get that spin combo with the Maledict. Axe is going to take all of his health and damage. Ooh, no, he might survive. With the Fairy Fires. Yep, he's able to survive. By the stick and the Fairy Fire. But he's not happy about that. That was a ton of damage, and it'll be back up again in 10 seconds. And that's good. That's what you want to see. Going to be another little exchange here. All the Codfish getting thrown back in. Jellyfish, he doesn't want to... He's not that hungry again yet. So there's the combo. Not quite. Doug does not have his boots delivered yet. They are on the way. But he's not able to catch up to that Rubik real quickly and start hitting that spin damage. In the bot lane, Juicebox forced to run away from Boonana. Follow up from Alvaroth. The stacked pull camp for the Radiant is not ideal. Boonana gets a ward up on the cliff. That should help them get some courier picks. They're both ranged, so as long as they see the couriers coming, they'll get a lot out of that. And he's just going to burn all those level 2 dual breaths into Warlock. Lower his mana. Prevent him from healing up the Drow. And ideally he will mango up, and they'll focus a bunch of damage into the Drow. Right now, still looks like Tusk is leading the game in CS. Rad led the game last game. He does a good job farming, and he's actually able to control both water runes at the 4-minute mark. Not something that you really want as the Zeus mid, to lose both water runes in 4 minutes. That should put him into excellent standing. You know, he's full health with a bottle with a water rune in it. Going into this level 6 spike, he may be able to turn that into a kill on the Zeus. Only time will tell. They're going for a bit of aggression on Drow. She steps back fast enough. Banana does not have the cojones to hit him with a dual breath there, so... Does end up getting kind of a fake out Shadow Word, though. That Shadow Word doing almost nothing. Top lane. Bit of pull action. Half pull for the Witch Doctor. Doug wants to hit these creeps. Witch Doctor's like, I could do it. I could do it. I could cast him. I could cast him. You. Ooh, watch me. Ooh, I'll do it. That's what he's thinking. That's exactly his thoughts. I actually read his mind so that I could provide you with that commentary.
Good night.
And Arglide's just, you know, hitting creeps up the tower. Good life.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So we should see a small creep wave. So we see Witch Doctor running up. Axe able to step away from the catapult, but he's stepping in, and this is not good for the Axe. Axe is in danger. Oh, but the Zeus ult. And he gets the first blood. He's getting the spins.
Axe will whittle them down, one by one.
Ooh. This is so close. Beat us. He's got the zap. He gets the zap, but Axe does tick out to the Maledict.
The ultimate Magus.
I think you're happy with that as the Axe. I think you're fine with that. Let's see bottom. Anything cool happening? Banana taking a lot of damage, getting hit by the slow creep. He's behind the Drow Ranger. He might go down. Oh, he's dead. He's dead as hell. Dead as hell. What shoe is he wearing in his grave? So that is 3 kills now for the Radiant, including the enemy safe lane, the enemy position 4. And, shoot, who else died? Did position 5 die? Yeah, Codfish went down real quick. So Codfish trying to set up on Beatus, but getting set up on himself.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And going down straight away. Vanguard on the Axe now. He's got max HP. Durable little man. Going to be a little less scared of the Maledict combo now, especially because spin is the only real thing that's going to contribute to the damage of the Maledict. Right clicks are going to do next to nothing. So Arglides, he recognizes this lane is basically over, and he's just going to step back and jungle. If he gets called, he's going to have to leave. And we see both Radiant supports now rotating to the mid lane in support of their Zeus.
Got it.
Off Tusk. Leaving to bottle up to full. He's level 7 with max shards. He's walking back to mid. We've seen Warlock now has stepped back to the bot lane, I believe through a teleport scroll. Either that or he just walked real quick. He's going to go in on the Zeus. Zeus has no mana to defend himself, so he's really obligated to. And Zeus just ate 3 mangoes, and now he's got a lot of mana. Bot lane. Oh, kill action. Let's see. Drow going low, but she's got the healing on her. She's not able to survive long enough to get another soul assumption. Looks like that's going to be a double for the Radiant. Creeps just providing good vision on Banana. And this is looking bad. Alright, Zeus does go down. Tusk just goes back in and punches him to death when Geobetus looks away. He grabs a haste rune, so looks like right now Rad is the last hope of the Dire. Though Axe, no, he got left by his support, so he took a ton of damage there. This might put Jug in a good position to get his level 6 spike. Yep, and the Drow getting killed by the haste Tusk. Also looking to follow up onto the Warlock. I don't think there's anything that's going to save him. Oh. Dead as hell. So, a fat Tusk is a great thing to have if you're trying to make a comeback here. Deadly Fishy, tanking a bunch more spells, does die to the Maledict. Also rotation from Young, the mid Zeus, just trying to put out his damage, and he's managing. They know where he is. He got spotted out, the Juggernaut, and he just needs to run faster than Rubik. He's got phase boots, so that is not an issue. Tusk rotates, though. Great, excellent ice shards into Snowball, and knocks himself down a Rubik, picking up 4 kills, now making him the killiest killer in the kill game. We also have level 6 coming out for Visage. Not a lot of farm for the poor fella. Got a magic wand and tranquil boots, but he has a Visage, so he will persevere. He doesn't like the high armor on this Drow. Not a great target for him. You know, these birds, you know, there's 2 things they don't like. High armor heroes and melee heroes. And they do 25 damage each, so that really does not add up very fast when you're hitting one of those types. Rad, another kill. Catches Warlock trying to go for a jungle ward. Looks like Warlock was able to get the ward down, but they haven't found it. And Zeus going on to the Witch Doctor. Gets a cast, does hit both. Zeus is out of mana. And Did someone pop Roche's Lincolns? Alrighty then. Not sure what that was.
Are fortified.
Just picking up a DD rune. He's got barely enough mana for his combo if he pops his stick and waits a little while. And right now he's going to have to wait a while because there's nobody standing next to him. But he's just going to return to his presence mid. Jug is still top. Jug does not want to be top right now. Jug is going to get lifted into a call and bursted by the Zeus. Zeus doesn't have ult though, so maybe he doesn't go down all at once. Maybe he's able to get some TPs and an ult. Oh, and we did actually see the tower fell down here. Interesting. Guess Visage just did Visage things. And mid lane, we have Tusk going in. Rock dropped. Drow shows up. Tusk says, nope. Full bails. That is basically all the damage on the enemy team there. So he, even though he's got that DD rune, he says, I do not want to die. I got priorities, and dying ain't one of them. Now Visage pushing into the enemy jungle, trying to root out the Drow. Birds find the Drow first. He's got that level 1 Gravekeeper's Cloak, so they ain't dying anytime soon. And the Dire are the aggressors right now. Axe just hitting the tower.
Radiant's middle tower has
Ooh,
been
and
denied.
Warlock gets the deny on the mid tower.
Tower is under attack.
Very good for them. And it looks like the Radiant might just let this tower fall. Maybe they'll go for the avenging kill afterwards, but not going to be able to do much in the meantime. Now, they are going to TP in the Tusk. Tusk is the you need to run guy. And, well, tower dies, but Axe is running. He's completely shrouded in there. Oh, like he cut himself a path. Okay, and the birds, yeah, they're just a stun at this point. They don't do any damage to the Axe, but Soul Assumption will. He can find himself some mana. Witch Doctor, big ult. Should take out Geobetus before he can use the stolen ults. Ooh. Almost got the TP, but actually got a really good snowball off of it. Juice Box completely surrounded. They don't know he's there. They go. They found him.
I'll take that.
And that should be the end of Juice Box. Zeus pushing up the mid lane. But yeah, Juice Box goes down and goes down to Alvarov. Much needed kill for him. That's going to get some more aura items. He's going for a Vlad's again this game. It does amp the damage of the birds. It does amp the damage of Tusk. And does give lifesteal to all of its cores, but does not provide magic resistance. So that's still a decent item. You know, especially into an Axe Call. Vlad's is probably one of the best defensive items. Just because it'll give your guys a little more HP.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
We see that this should be the end of the Radiant's final remaining Tier 1 tower. They've got some heroes standing in the area, but there's not much they're going to do here. Zeus going for what looks to be a Kaya. He was actually kind of stepping up here. He's going to get snowballed if he's not careful. He got sharded. He shitted, he farted, he sharded. They are... Okay, he's stunned. What? They are not going on this guy. They really do not want what the Radiant has to offer. I would have thought about it, but then again, I can see that Axe isn't there. So, you know, they don't know for sure. Does Axe have a blink? Is Axe there? Axe does not have a blink. Axe is not there, but they don't know that for sure. So they're not committing. Probably wisely. They're just trying to get their last 2 heroes. Let's see, who's level 6 now? Last hero to level 6 is going to be this Bunana Jakiro. But he's, you know, Jakiro's not really a hero who minds. So we have Tusk working on a Desolator. There's a smoke by the Radiant from their triangle, but you know, they got this wave pushing in. There's not really anywhere good for them to go with that from the triangle. You know, maybe they can try and gank the Jug, but not from the triangle. And speaking of gank, Tusk is walking towards the Drow Ranger. He now sees her. He's snowballing in, and he needs to punch her up in the air before he gets silenced and step behind her. Perfect. Hero hits the ice. Oh, does not hit the ice path, but gets the slow. Rubik now has ice path. Rock comes out, holding down 2. Oh. Rubik slowing down, and Drow does fall down to that level 4 snowball. And Jug is out of mana. He cannot cast his ult. Big Witch Doctor ult, going to kill the Axe. And the Radiant are not too unhappy with that. They wish Jug was alive, but he just didn't have enough mana to get that ult off after casting his other 2 spells.
Dire's courier has been
And
killed.
nobody had the arcane boots to get him up there. Maybe Bunana got. I think he got those after the fight, to be honest with you. But I wasn't paying that close of attention. I'm willing to bet you weren't either. Oh, drums out on the Visage, working for a Vlad's. Seems to be going kind of a constant item build, which is probably not terrible here. Drums, good against everyone but the axe.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
It still helped to kill the axe outside of the fall.
Fitting bounty.
Witch Doctor, he's got himself a bracer, he's got himself a windlace, and he's just going to go for a shard after that. Not seeing a glimmer cape or anything. They really don't seem to be seeing the Zeus as a threat, and to be honest with you, I'm not really seeing the Zeus as a threat. I think Young was a lot scarier last game on the Ember Spirit. You know, as the Zeus, he feels like he doesn't have the experience that he had in the Ember. We see mid lane. Axe has a blink now, and just looking. He's a lurking. He's a thirsting, and he's a licking his lips, looking at this visage. But Rad running mid, he's almost got that Desolator. He wants like that last creep. And Axe is backed off, so he's probably in the right spot to get it. He's just gonna burst that wave. And he's able to step out of the range of the Rubik stun. Not the time to go in, Visage. You don't know it, but yeah, unfortunately he does end up stepping back. We see the Drow Ranger continuing to farm. Putting herself into a Manta style, just kind of a traditional farming item on the hero. Not exceptional against anyone in the enemy team. Good against the Jug. It does make him, you know, it's a little tricky right after he Mantas to tell which one to Walrus Punch. You do normally Walrus Punch to follow up Snowball, so not that hard at that point. Dire's smoking into the Radiant here. They pop a Drums and a bunch of enemy heroes. They're getting a little bit of vision from the birds. Tusk not willing to snowball in. There we go. Snowballs in to follow up the Jakiro ult. And that's that Desolator revealed for a Rubik kill and a bit of standing. Not ideal, but it'll work. They are pushing the Drow off farm, though. She ended up being in the neighborhood. Axe, he wants the Visage. He wants the birds, at least. He's confident stepping forward. Now he knows there's no ward. He jumps in on the Jakiro, but not able to get the call off. And Tusk jumping in. Rock coming out, hitting 3. Axe taking tons of damage, dropping very low. Tusk falls down. Soul Assumption finishes the Axe. Drow Ranger shooting down the Visage with the Golem. And so far that is 3 dead for the Radiant. Or 3 kills for the Radiant, and they're able to pick up a 4th with the stolen Witch Doctor ult. That was a solid defense. The Axe took a ton of damage to bring down, and as a result, these damaging heroes, the Drow Ranger and the Zeus, were able to just sit there and do what they want to do, which is click Q and right-click with the Frost Arrows. That's going to put Drow into a Manta style that was going to be a lot less timely before she picked up those kills here. Now she has 4 kills now. And that was also the first death of the Tusk, so he died for quite a lot. So that is looking pretty good for the Radiant. And Jug has picked up this Maelstrom, going for a Yasha, a very farm-fast type of build. And I think that's the goal here, is he kind of just roll his 4.
Even I
Jug
like
farms, joins with his ult, and then stops joining, but you keep fighting, even when his ult is down.
Hello there.
Hello. What's new with you, Batch?
Nothing much. Just played a game of carry.
How'd that go? What are you doing in the caster studio? I'm a little concerned.
Koji told me to join here.
Oh, she told you to join. Okay. Well, welcome. Release of game 2. Things are looking a little bit better for our Dire fellows, but they are still down on the meta. They had a rough fight recently in the enemy triangle. Are you not needed for further games in the series?
I am subbed out.
Ah, good for you. Alright, so we've seen another smoke from the Great Dire here. Thirsting after the Zeus, but a counter smoke by the Radiant. Keep playing in this Dire triangle, which is really not an easy to assail place, but that's where the Dire are playing. Or the Radiant are playing, so. The Dire want to gank, they gotta gank the Radiant triangle. They've decided it's not worth it. I'm not walking up that hill again. That was dumb, and I didn't like it. Said they're walking up closer to the Roche pit. Nope, no enemies in Roche. They took an early Roche last time, so they're worried about that. It's like, yeah, they could Roche with the Drow Axe. Neither team really finding each other. And both carries continue to farm. Drow Ranger considerably ahead of the Juggernaut. 3,000 ahead of the Juggernaut on net worth. You know, with Jug dying in that last fight and Drow surviving while believe she got the kill on the Tusk, who was the man to kill. Not great. So a quick smoke from the Radiant. That might have been too close to the creep wave, but Zeus Witch Doctor is not acting like he saw it, so I don't think they saw it. Roll that DD rune for the Tusk should be a big deal. Witch Doctor gets started on. And immediately Zeus is deleted. And Rad is looking for Drow Rangers. He's not going to find any. So he's going to change course here. Dodge some spells and probably end up grabbing himself a nice juicy little Warlock. They don't currently have True Sight, but they're gonna smoke him out. Big call from the Axe with Blade Mail. Rad punches the Golem to death. Snowball just comes up. Oh, not in time. And big call, big Blade Mail. Jug goes in. Oh, gets called. That's the end of Jug. And Drow is still the richest hero in the game. That looked good. That fight started off as Zeus dead. It's not over, actually. I'm going to stop acting like it is. Alright, there's a cast, there's a Maledict, there's a little voodoo switcheroo. And he is going to finish off the Axe. Witch Doctor actually got the W stolen. Geobetus, not worth it. Not worth it, man. Visage goes down
You have to earn it.
to the Drow Ranger after losing both birds first. To the multi-shot. Not good. So Jakiro going in? Wow, that's only revealing the ward, which I guess they'd already seen, so doesn't matter much, but lost a small amount of mana. So we see Jug coming back up and ideally just hitting more creeps, but his camps are blocked! Wait, his camps have been blocked for ages! When did Juicebox place these? Man, both those camps are blocked and have been for at least 2 minutes. And the Zeus still having a bit of a struggle, but Drow Ranger should be able to make plenty of space for him, holding these fights off. Got now the Manta and the Hurricane Pike. That should make her a lot harder for Jug to get a good ult on. That's ideally their team's play. Is, you know, they jump in, they blow up the Zeus, and somehow Jug gets on to the Drow Ranger and ults her. But what the fuck? Toadi's in here too. What the how's everybody here? Not gonna be able to make that happen here. There's a Glimmer Cape up. Snowball. Oh my god. That was a ballsy snowball, and Rubik is under the enemies. Here too. And he's gonna die to the enemy carry. That was a lapse in judgment at best. Alright, let's see. So Tusk is going for a BKB. That'll help him a little bit. You know, he'll take less damage from the Zeus and the Fatal Bonds and the Rubik, but still going to take a lot of damage. But it's a great item on the hero anyway. It avoids him being kited and gives him tons of damage. They do catch the Axe here. This is not capable of killing the Axe, but certainly capable of preventing him from blinking. As long as he keeps hitting him. Hit him. He didn't hit him. Axe blinks away, but still not able to TP out. Now there are 4 heroes on the Axe with a Maledict. He's going to go down. Bird's able to survive because Gravekeeper's Cloak was not broken. And that's a good pick. Axe pick. That's almost all the disables the enemy team has. Without that, they've got Rock and whatever Rubik has and can steal. So they step forward boldly, but they are not slowing down this Drow Ranger, crucially for the Radiant. The Drow Ranger is still hitting creeps, even though the enemy has taken some territory. Zeus still hitting creeps. And they are probably just going to decide to mass TP this tier 2, if they're going to defend it at all, when the Axe respawns. And with the help of the Glyph, it's going to live long enough. You know, that Desolator plus the Visage with drums, that tower would have died in about 10 seconds. But they're going to run in. Drow Ranger has a Shadow Blade. And they smoke. Rad dodges the silence, but is forced to go a little deep on the Drow. Pops his BKB, gets hit with Call, he's going to go down. And that should mark the end of the fight for the Dire, and they should be attempting to get out. Yeah, and they smoke. They are affected by Drum's aura. They are walking quickly away. And there's actually, Visage has accidentally microed his courier into the lane. I think he's about to realize. Yep, just in time. But it's going to run into, yeah. He should have run it into the trees. But he instead curved it. So now we see Axe taking a bit of damage from a Maledict. It's the longest range juggles I think I've ever seen. But it does take down the Rubik, so, you know, he got a kill with it. At this point, at this stage in this fight, he's really not thinking, oh, I'm going to kill Drow Ranger with it. I'm going to get an ideal ult. He's thinking, I want to use it, get it on cooldown, and kill somebody. Hero caught by the axe. Looks like he will go down and gets dunked and unable to defend that DD rune. Zeus will likely just use that to fill his bottle, but they could take Roche with it with the Drow Ranger.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Apparently they've elected not to make that play, and Tusk a little upset. Snowballing the Drow early, but she's still able to cover so much distance because of her Hurricane Pike that he ended up in the middle of the enemy team and got hit with a call through his BKB. He was the whole team, you know, he was the only hero the enemies could really fight, and so they used everything on him, and that was enough to bring him down. You see in the mid lane, Axe gets a call onto Visage. Gets stunned by both the familiars, and Jug is going to go. And Jug has no ult, but he does have a Manta style. It's new, it's fancy, it's shiny. It gets rid of the Drow Silence. That's about all. Drow Silence, Battle Hunger, Fadeable. That's all he's really doing with that. So I wouldn't have gone for it, but he's gone for it. Already got. I would have preferred the Yasha and Sanj. I think that would have been excellent. The status resist, the only thing that is going to help you against Axe Call, other than just lifesteal, you know, more HP. And it also provides more HP and more lifesteal. So I would have gone for that. He's got the Manta style. It should help him farm a little faster than Sanj and Yasha would.
I'll dig that.
And you see another call coming out onto the Tusk. And he's going to get chain stun. He gets his BKB off before he takes too much damage, though. He's going to beat the fucking piss out of Rubik and just walk away from Drow Ranger. She can't slow him down. And he blocks off with shards. And this Rubik keeps getting killed, but it doesn't mean much. Jug gets caught now with a call, and he has not got his ult. He goes for the spin and gets dunked. Witch Doctor goes in, Voodoo Switcheroo. Drow Ranger actually able to pick off Jakiro with a multi-shot. And yeah, the longer the Dire stay in this fight, the worse it's going to get. They just don't have the power to win it anymore. Visage has to resummon his birds. And the Dire, they should be running away from this tower. TPing back to it when their teammates respawn. Because all they risk here is if they get seen, you know, by a ward they didn't know about, or just by a splash of vision, and they get called, they're going down. And Axe sees him. Axe knows where he's at, and gets the call, blind through the trees. That's the end of Rad. Tusk mid falling. Yeah, they didn't have vision, but they had vision on this ward, actually, and that's what got you killed. A very old ward, as well. Just about to expire, but in its final moments, it is able to accomplish its job, and that gets that tier 2 killed for sure, as well as the enemy mid, and now they're staggered. Now there are not 5 heroes for the Dire, there are 4, and so they can't make a play right now, even though the Radiant are at slightly less than full power. Although, I do mean slightly. You know, Drow's a little low on mana. Zeus is a little low on mana, that's about it. So they've got now their Wraith Pact. This should be a big help against the Drow Ranger, but it won't do much against the Axe, the Zeus, the Warlock. And he's also going to queue into a Pipe, which will help with all of those heroes. But it's gonna be a minute. It's an expensive item for a Visage. And Jug just continuing to farm up. Tusk got his BKB. He's got 10 Desolator charges. They've scanned and actually... Alright, they caught the Axe, but they might get the wrong impression that the enemies are taking Roche, which they were not at the time of the scan. It seems like they're heading over there now, but they are right now spread out. We have Visage TPing and his birds flying over. Drow Ranger walking mid, so... Oh, that's a little presumptuous. And that's going to put down Ice Path and the Macro Fire. Drow Ranger initiating onto the Witch Doctor, killing him straight off the bat. Rubik going down to the Omni Slash. Ooh, Axe with the Ogre Totem Blink. And there's no shard on that Visage, so he is dead as they come. And yeah, that assumption the enemies were in the pit was maybe a good one to try, but has not paid off. Glimmer Cape just barely saving the life of Jakiro. And it fades right as Zeus ults. He goes down. And so now we should almost certainly see the Radiant take Roche. They've pushed the enemy into their base. They've killed several of them. They're going to take control of this outpost, and they're going to Roche. You know, Omni Slash is down. Macro Pyre is not down. It's coming back up. Honestly, who cares about Macro Pyre? Upon further reflection, nobody cares about Macro Pyre. Tusk going for an Enchanted Quiver to increase his one-shotting power. Apparently I can see the Radiant's neutral items, but not the Dire's, so... I don't know what other options he has.
Has fallen to the Radiant.
And my roommates are fucking vacuuming. I hope you can't hear that. They haven't vacuumed for weeks, but of course, I'm hosting a tournament. I'm casting, and now the vacuum is being run. And we see Axe. He wants a call. He wants to jump that Jakiro. He doesn't necessarily know that's a safe thing to do, but he's thinking it. He likes it. And we should see the Radiant go ahead and push down this tower. I don't think the Dire are going to have anything to say about it, but we'll see. And we're looking for a Halberd on the Tusk. Great item for helping control the Drow. She can't dispel it, and it does last extra duration because she is a ranged hero. Really the item to go for here. I don't think anyone else on that team can really buy it. Visage maybe could buy it, but Tusk will get a much better timing. He'll benefit from the lifesteal, from the max HP, from the strength that'll give him damage. Go for it. He's actually, at the risk of his buyback, he's going to grab that Sange. And I think that's fair enough. I think if he dies once here, that's going to be it for him anyway.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So Visage just using his birds to go ahead and knock down a free tower bottom. He's got the resummon available so he can quickly have birds here. Otherwise, they're just going to keep split pushing. Thor steps in, hits a nice two-man ice path. If something good's going to happen, this is going to be it. They're doing lots of damage to the Axe, but they're afraid to commit. They don't want to eat the rock, which ironically he doesn't have, nor does he have mana for it. But they don't know that he doesn't have it. He did have mana for it until he cast Upheaval a second ago. They knock down that tower. They're just waiting for their creep wave, nervously chipping. You can see they want it. They really, there's feelings in their mind that they are so ahead they can just run up there. But that is not quite the case. They get a good ice path onto the Drow, but birds get called. And the backline, Rattlin is able to burst the Warlock. There's going to be no rock. Drow goes down immediately. Axe goes down to the Jug ult, and Drow's coming back up into an ice path. Drow's going to go down. Let's see. Okay, cannot kill the Rubik in time. Magnificent teamfight execution. Absolutely beautiful. Being able to blow up that Warlock just in time. I mean, the snowball hit just before he was able to cast the rock, and then he just blows up in one shot. Absolutely excellent. Absolutely vital for the Dire to be able to make that fight. And they take no losses. They killed Drow twice. They killed Axe. They knocked down the Warlock instead of letting him use his ults. That was absolutely superb. And now we should see that this is a lot closer for the Dire. Still, there are scaling concerns, but Juggernaut does scale very well. So, in spite of Axe's excellent scaling, and Tusk sort of falling off when he can't one-shot anybody anymore, this should still be a very interesting 10 minutes, 15 minutes of this game. You see they're looking for a follow-up kill onto the Rubik. They see him. He has no escape. Oh, he has his shard. He's able to throw himself out of the ice shards, so Tusk ends up blocking himself, and he gets Glimmer Caped by the Warlock.
Middle tower is under attack.
Now the Dire are a little bit out of position here.
Take that as tribute.
They don't have the Jug, they don't have the Witch Doctor, they don't really want to be playing that far up, and they do step back. Tusk looking now to grab himself a Blink Dagger after finishing off his Halberd. Witch Doctor with an Aether Lens. And Visage still working on his pipe. Glimmer Cape is up on Jakiro. He's working on a Yule Scepter. That will be a phenomenal item if he knows exactly when and how to use it. Yulesing an axe just means that he doesn't do any damage during his call. He blinks in, he calls your friends, you Yules him. He will not spin because he will not get attacked. And that is massive. He will not get Blade Mail damage because he will not get attacked. So having that up on the Jakiro will be a very big deal. And Visage getting a little farming off that Nimbus that the Zeus dropped. Juggernaut has the Mjolnir now. His farm speed has really picked up. We could see, looks like he's going for a Basher. You might also see an item like BKB on him so that he can use Spin more aggressively. But with the Shard, he usually isn't that worried about it. You know, Spin does his auto attack damage. It does enough damage to seriously wound and kill heroes. He probably is better off getting something like a Basher. It might also be nice to see like an Aghanims or a... you know, he's also got an Agi Blink in his items. That could also be very helpful for just... It's all about jump. Both teams. Axe jumps. Axe is the only jump, though. But for the Dire, it's about Tusk jump. Let Jug jump. And right now, Jug doesn't really have a great way to jump. We see all of the Radiant heroes grouped up, pushing down this last lane of outer towers. Trivially taking the tier 1. And then stepping back, seeing what happens. Jug just de-pushing them with his Manta. And Draw Ranger saying, okay, nothing good's going to happen here. I'm going to get creeps. Zeus saying the same thing, but later and in the same spot. Poor feller. He's not going to get any money. Frowny face. Crying emoji. Axe backing hard from the top lane. Does not know where the Dire are, and the Dire are happy about that because they have just smoked. I'm going to go check out the Radiant jungle, which is completely empty, but full of creeps. So maybe they'll take those. They don't really want to cross over into the enemy triangle. Speaking of which, ooh, they might see the Warlock. Oh, they don't see him.
Dire are scanning.
And they don't even see that creep, actually. It just looks like that camp is empty to them. So both teams just kind of okay farming. Dire wasted a little bit of time. They missed a whole spawn of creeps because of that smoke, but they're not working with the same information we're working with here. Oh. A decent decision given the information they had available. Jug TP's back to push the top wave. And now we see that the rest of the Dire are going to have to follow him because the evidence of the Jug being top means that the Dire can take, or the Radiant can take back their own jungle. They may be keen on doing. Roche is not up soon. That, you know, it's less important for them to have this Dire jungle. And this obvious ward is going to get de-warded. That's really only a ward you can use if you're going to stay to defend it, but it seems like maybe they had some sort of communication issue about whether they were able to stay and defend that. And Rubik planning a sentry right on top of Zeus's lightning bolt is a little funny. We're going to laugh at his expense for that. Jug, finishing off the Basher, does not have buyback. In fact, let's see, who's got buybacks? Do I have a convenient way to check that? I do, I can just do this. Okay, so we got a buyback on Zeus and Drow and the Warlock, whereas the Dire only have buybacks on Visage and Witch Doctor. Whoa! Radulin goes for a little creep wave rush. A little daringly, and it pays off huge. Rock is down. So the Dire, they're gathering. They don't seem to have a smoke yet. They're flying one out, though, I think. They're flying out of pipe. They really want to make a play right now. Rock down is a big, big deal. Because that means the only thing they have to worry about when grouping is Call. And Call is a lot fucking smaller than Rock. So, yeah, Golem dead. I think they were able to get a smoke together. They're fucking acting like it, but I don't see any of them with a smoke. And they're gonna kind of waste their window here. Not able to get one. I don't see any couriers flying out with smoke either. I think they might be out of stock. There's DD Rune in the top lane. Axe could die here if he gets spotted. Jug's Illusion's running up there. They do see the Axe TPing. So we see all the Radiant are now grouped top. They're looking a little smoky themselves. Geobetus carrying one. They might end up smoking through the enemy jungle. Maybe checking out the DD Rune for the Tusk. Got it in this bottle. He's going to be able to use it effectively in this fight, hopefully. And we do see the Radiant smoking through the Dire jungle. The Dire also revealing, hey, our support just channeled your outpost. We're in your jungle. There's nothing for you to find. So we might see them collapse. They don't have Zeus, though. Zeus is lagging behind. Yeah, and they're cutting across that mid wave. They're going to check out the enemy triangle. Maybe there's a carry farming behind their team. Untrue. There is not. And their smoke going to wear off here. A quarter of its duration left. We do see the Radiant are a little staggered, and they are getting spotted out under wards. Like, they saw that Juggernaut. He is, oh my god, so narrowly avoided their vision. If he got spotted, he was in call range. He was in blink call range, but he didn't get spotted. And we see a call under the Visage. Dead as hell. Weird spot to stand. Very dead.
Radiant
And
are
Rock not back up yet. Starting to get to that point where you might consider whether it's up, though. And they're going to see the
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
cost. Oh, not able to react in time and going to get called and killed. And this fight looks like it is probably over for the Dire. A big Jug ult, though. Very big Jug ult. Kills 2. Though they do lose someone else. So it is just Jug and Witch Doctor at this point. And Witch Doctor is about to get thrown out. Jug pops his Manta. He still has his Trickster's Cloak. He's not going to be able to catch that Rubik, though. Voodoo Switcheroo keeping Witch Doctor alive for another few seconds, but he's going to drop soon. Visage returns, gets called. His birds are dead. He's fucking dead. He's gone. He's upset. he is at least mildly upset about that. Okay, again, no vision onto the Jug. Jug just needs to find a safe spot to TP out. And he finds a spot, and it's safe, and he TPs out. So, not great. That Tusk getting caught in the mid lane, not very good. I mean, the Visage getting caught, obviously terrible. Okay, and I'm, again, not a terrible person, not a terrible player, just terrible for the Dire. And that was one thing. But then the Tusk also getting caught in the follow-up mid, not ideal. When he drops down to that low ground, he didn't really have any better options to run. He needed to increase his distance from the enemies without knowing exactly where the axe was. And when second he drops down to that low ground, he loses the ability to react to the axe's blink. And so he gets killed with that call. And there's not a save. You know, Jakiro, not able to save him from that. If he gets hit with call, it doesn't matter if you stun the axe. He's going to die. Because the Drow's going to shoot him to death. And so that DD rune kind of went to waste. Radiant are controlling the Roshan. And knocking it down quickly. Dire know they're in there, but they're like, yeah, we simply can't contest that. You know, our Visages die back, no birds. We don't have Witch Doctor.
Immortality.
So this is suddenly looking very Radiant favored. Let's see what the net worth got. Yeah, it was like, yeah, it was pretty favored to them, and then just like whoosh, another 5% or so added on. But you know, Blink comes out on the Jug. He's got Blink Basher. I am still firmly of the belief that this is actually not even 80% in the favor of the Radiant. I think that the Dire have a lot of power here, but 2 AoE BKB piercing disables is very scary, with Drow Ranger being that again, and just that flanderized, absolutely ridiculous ranged damage carry. She just is the most damaging ranged carry in the game, bar none. And so dealing with her is very important, and she is very fucking wealthy. Look at her net worth here. 8,000 above the next nearest hero. Very, very rich. She has all items to help her deal with. But she gets jumped. Not able to bring her down with the call, and Tusk goes down, not even able to burst down Geobetus. There's an ascetics cap on the ground too, which is a little weird. Buyback from the Tusk. And Drow does go down once. They need to now beat up the Zeus. He E-blades himself, and Drow Ranger is shooting on the Tusk. Tusk pops BKB. Call goes down on the Jug. And that is going to bring down the Juggernaut. That's looking really bad. Drow's BKB is over. She still has Satanic though. Tusk has a Walrus Punch, but he blinks out. Gets caught with a Rubik Ice Path that catches 3, though. Absolutely massive. Axe misses the call, though. And Tusk gets silenced. This will be the end of Tusk. That's his dieback. Jug is back. He's going to try and spin down the Zeus, and he's able to do so. Witch Doctor trying to Voodoo Switcheroo the Drow Ranger, but it just hits the illusions. And Jug using that illusion cape to run away. Oh my god, he just barely dodged the Rubik. Oh. He is just barely avoiding vision, so crucially. I mean, this game would be way, way over if he was not just barely avoiding vision. But the tower is still going to fall. This Drow Ranger does not care about your backdoor. You don't give half a fuck about it. And that is a dieback Tusk. A Visage who is dead. Still don't have the Witch Doctor ult. They don't have the Jug ult. The Jug ult very crucial. So they're going to try and de-push with the Witch Doctor ult. They also used the Fortify on the same wave. That seems to be a bit of a miscommunication, because that wave was basically gone. And now Fortify is definitely gone. And Jakiro should be very careful using Ice Path like that. It's just pointing to itself. And now Rubik has Ice Path. They catch the Jakiro. He gets called. Jug also gets hit. They call. That's the end of Jug. They see the Witch Doctor. That's the end of Witch Doctor. This Ice Path Rubik is a nightmare. It's so scary. A quickly casting Ice Path with extra range is so strong. Looks like the Dire knocked down a tier 2 siege creeps, but this is probably the game here, and probably the series, because this is just so much building damage, such a dead carry, so very, very dead. But we'll see, maybe Radilin can work a miracle on the Tusk. They know the axe isn't there. They see the axe and the Zeus on creep waves. But if the nanosecond Tusk is up, he's able to get in there and make a play, maybe with the Witch Doctor buyback. We could still have a game here. And he's looking at it. He knows what's good. Comes in, punches the Zeus, pops a very timely BKB. Pushes onto the Drow Ranger. He knows this is it. It's now or never, and it's looking like it's going to be never. His BKB is down, his ult is down, he is stunned, he is dead. Visage just having to pop his E to try and chain out some stuns, and he is, again, just super dead. And that, to me, is the game. But we'll see. Maybe Jug
Dire's
can
middle barracks
pull a
are under
rabbit out of
attack.
his ass and somehow kill 3 really farmed heroes at the same time with his ult.
Dire's middle barracks has
They are
fallen.
calling GG for the Dire. A solid
Dire's
effort
middle barracks
and a good
has
game, but that
fallen.
Drow Ranger just a little too wealthy.
Radiant victory.
And that is going to be game 2 in favor of Lords of Luke. That is the second game of this best of 3 that they have won. So it is over. They will be moving on to the grand finals. We will see them there at approximately 4:30 p.m. EST. For the meantime, I'm going to do a little bit of closing up here, look at some stats, look at some graphs, and then we're going to go ahead and end the stream. I'm going to go check in on my the Series B game going on right now on the other stream. Go check that out if you're bored and want to watch some Dota. See here. So XP and net worth, win rate, probability, it was pretty much always in favor of the Radiant, and that was mostly on Jekyll Mentosh, just that farm. He was just farming. Look at this purple line. Look how far it is from the group. You know, Rad trying to keep up on the Tusk, you know, eventually getting surpassed by his Juggernaut, but he wanted that Jug to be ahead of him earlier, but just hard to be a Jug. You know, the Jug was the last pick, but it was a desperate last pick. They were out of time, and picking the Jug into these 2 BKB piercing disables, they were able to kite him, you know, during spin. It's really strong when they don't have anything that pierces BKB, and so you can just kill things with the shard spin. And they did not have that this game, but they wanted a melee carry, they wanted a jumpy carry that kills Zeus and Drow. They just weren't quite able to get that this game. With the Juggernaut, they weren't able to make that work. The Jug was strong. Jug plus Witch Doctor, you know, they put some pressure into the Axe, but they actually, that first exchange, they lost in the top lane, and that made things really hard for them. Visage had a real tough time. You know, that early phase Visage pick means that you're not going to have a lot good going on, you're going to have a lot bad going on, and Axe was a lot bad. You know, again, if Axe calls the birds, they 100% are going to die. Unless you use the Axe or something, the birds are going to die. And that happened a couple times. And Visage just had a really hard time doing anything at all in fights. Because if he doesn't, you know, ideally he'd set his birds up for a good stun, or he'd sick them on someone. But if he doesn't drop his birds into stone form right away, they're going to die. Because he's not going to be able to keep up the passive that keeps those birds alive by avoiding damage. He's going to take damage from Zeus. He's going to take damage from Rubik. He might take some split shots from Drow or some hits from the Warlock Fatal Bonds. And he's not going to be able to keep the birds up. So just a really tough draft to execute, I think. With that Drow Ranger doing as well as she was able to do in lane, they weren't quite able to put that pressure onto her. And that seemed to cost them the second game of this series. So I think that'll about wrap it up for the commentary for Series A. Again, tune in here at 4:30 EST. Lords of Luke's message or game in the grand finals. We'll see who's winning over there on the other stream. And ideally we'll have some more good games for you